drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hello students, my name is Niyati Said and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the first section of the chapter Anatomy of Flowering Plants. Flowering plants, they are also known as Angiosperms students. In this section of presentation, I'll be explaining you about the plant anatomy. So how can you define plant anatomy? Plant anatomy can be defined as a branch of botany which is concerned with the study of internal structure of plants. It is also called as phytotomy. Plant anatomy is a Greek word which means dissection. It completely deals with the structural organization of plants. Okay? So in this section we will study about the plant tissues and meristematic tissues. Okay? So, introduction. What you are looking at is internal morphology of a plant organ. Okay? Internal morphology is called as anatomy. As I told you that plant anatomy can be defined as a branch of botany which is concerned with the study of internal structure of plants. It is also called as phytotomy. Okay? And it completely deals with the structural organization of plants. Okay? Anatomically, a plant organ is made up of tissues. Okay? So let's see what is tissue. Tissue is a group of similar or dissimilar cells having a common origin, okay, and cooperating with one another to perform similar or set of similar function is called as tissue. Okay. Tissue can be classified into two main groups, namely meristematic and permanent tissue, based on whether the cells being formed are capable of dividing or not. I hope tissue is clear to all of you. So you can you can define that tissue is a group of cells which has a common origin and it usually performs a common functions. And thus they cooperate with one another to perform similar or set of similar function. Okay, so that is called as tissue. A plant is made up of different kind of tissues. Tissues, they are classified into two main groups, as I told you, meristematic and permanent tissue. Okay, based on whether the cells being formed are capable of dividing or not. If the cells are capable of dividing, then that is known as meristematic tissue. Okay, and if they cannot divide, then that is known as permanent tissue. Okay, so primary plant is made up of four tissue types, which are those: meristematic, ground tissue, dermal tissue and vascular tissue. Okay, meristematic tissue, it is a division of new cells for the new growth or repair, because these tissue, they have the capability to divide. Hence, division of new cells for the new growth or repair. Okay, so this is the functional role of meristematic tissue. Okay, which is the primary plant is made up of. Okay, now the second tissue type is your ground tissue. What is that? It is a bulk tissue. Its functional role is meant for storage, processing and physical support, which I'll be explaining you in detail, but for the time being you just know what these four tissues are. Okay, and the third tissue is your dermal tissue. Its functional role is protection and sometimes nutrient absorption. Okay, and the fourth tissue is vascular tissue, whose functional role is movement of fluids, food and physical support. For example, your xylem and vessels. Okay, I I'll be explaining you all these in detail, but for the time being, just understand that these are the 4 tissue types which a primary plant is made up of. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation. See, this is your ground tissue. These cells which keep on dividing, they are your meristematic tissues. These are your dermal tissues, and these are your vascular tissues such as xylem and phloem, which helps in the movement of fluid or food, and it is also meant for the physical support. Okay. Now, plant tissues and classification. It is based on their capacity to divide. As I told you that plant tissues, they are classified into 2 main groups. Which are those? Meristematic and permanent, students. Okay. So what are meristematic tissue, students? These are the similar cells that are capable of dividing, because this classification is based on their capacity to divide, right? So meristematic tissue are the similar cells that are capable of dividing and forming new cells which help in the repair of the damaged part of the plants, right? Now the second classification is permanent tissue. Permanent tissue means similar or dissimilar cells which have lost capacity of division and attained permanent shape, size and function. Okay. So these are your permanent tissue which have lost capacity of division. Okay. And thus they attain a permanent shape and size and function. So this was the classification based on their capacity to divide. And 2 are meristematic tissue and permanent tissue, right? Now, students, growth in plant is largely restricted to specialized regions of active cell divisions, which is called as meristem. Okay? Meristose means divided. Okay? So plants, they have different kind of meristems. The meristem which occur at the tip of root and shoot, and they produce primary tissues which are called as apical meristem. Okay. So the root apical meristem, it occupies the tip of the root, while the shoot apical meristem, it occupies the distant most region of the stem axis. Okay. Now come to the main characteristics of the meristematic tissues, that they are living. They are thin-walled. Vacuoles, as we know that vacuole is cell organelle. Okay, so the vacuole, they are very few and they are small in size. The cell contain a dense protoplasm and a conspicuous nuclei. Okay, the cells, they are spherical. I'm talking about the meristematic cells. They are spherical, they are oval, or they can be polygonal shape. And fifth characteristic is that they do not store reserve food material and they are in an active state of metabolism. Okay, so these are the main characteristics of the cells of the meristematic tissues. Okay, now come to the permanent tissue. As I told you that they have lost the power of division and thus they attain a definite form and shape. The cells of the permanent tissue, they do not generally divide further. Permanent tissue having all cells similar in structure and function are called as simple tissue. Permanent tissue having many different types of cells, they are called as complex tissue. Okay. So permanent tissue may be classified into 3 main groups, which are those simple, complex and special tissues. Okay. Now, simple tissue is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma and erenchyma. Okay. So the first simple tissue is your parenchyma. It is a simple tissue which is made of only one type of cell. The various simple tissue in plant are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So the parenchyma, it forms the major component within the organ. The cells of the parenchyma, they are generally isodiametric. They may be spherical, they may be oval, they may be round, polygonal or elongated in shape. Their walls, they are thin and they are made up of cellulose. They may either be closely packed or have small intercellular spaces. The parenchyma perform various functions like photosynthesis, storage and secretion. Okay? So, I hope it is understood to you that it is a few layers of a cells that form a basic packing tissue and that is parenchyma. Okay? And this tissue is parenchyma, a type of permanent simple tissue. It consists of relatively unspecialized cells with thin cell wall. They are live cells. They are usually loosely packed so that large spaces between cells, they are found in this tissue. Now comes your chlorenchyma. This tissue, it provides support to plants and it also stores food. In some situations, it contains chlorophyll and it also performs photosynthesis. Okay? These cells, they assimilate food when they contain chloroplast. Intercellular spaces in chlorenchyma is absolutely absent. Okay? Now comes your another simple permanent tissue and that is your parenchyma. In aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in parenchyma to give buoyancy to the plants to help them float. Okay? Such a parenchyma type is called as parenchyma. So, parenchyma is present only and only in aquatic plants to provide buoyancy to the plants so that they can float. Right? So, the parenchyma of stem and root also stores nutrients and water. Okay? Now comes collenchyma. What is that? Collenchyma occurs in layers below the epidermis in dicotyledonous plants. It is found either as a homogeneous layer or in patches. Okay? It consists of cells which are much thickened at the corners due to deposition of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. Okay? So the flexibility in plant is due to another permanent tissue and that is your collenchyma. It allows easy bending in various parts of plant such as leaf, stem without breaking. That means it allows easy bending of various parts of plant without breaking. Okay? And that is all because of your collenchyma. It also provides mechanical support to plants. We can find this tissue in leaf stalks below the epidermis. Okay? And the cells of this tissue, they are living. They are elongated and they are irregularly thickened at the corners. There is very little intercellular space as I told you, and they provide mechanical support to the growing parts of the plant such as young stem or petiole of a leaf. Okay? Now come to the another simple permanent tissue and that is your sclerenchyma. It is a tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. I'm sure you must have seen the husk of a coconut. It is made up of sclerenchymatous tissue, students. Okay? The cells of this tissue, they are dead. They are long. They are narrow as the walls are thickened due to lignin, a chemical substance which acts as a cement and it hardens them. Often, these walls are so thick that there is no internal space inside the cell. Okay? So, that is your sclerenchyma, whose fiber, they are very thick walled, very elongated and pointed cells, as you must have seen the husk of the coconut. Okay, keep watching Edupedia word videos. Thank you.